Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about cubing, the cubing community, and a new type of cubing activity that can be done to expand the cubing community beyond speed cubing into a new parameter of slow cubing. Slow cubing is a type of activity that I'm trying to get going within the cubing community, and today we're going to talk about value mapping. Specific thing that I think could be done with slow cubing. All right, so let's talk about value mapping. Value mapping is a very distinct thing that you could do with 3x3 cubes. When I say a 3x3 cube, I mean a Rubik's Cube. The reason why I refer to it as a 3x3 cube is within the cubing community, cubes are almost never referred to as Rubik's Cubes. They're just not. I'm just telling you how it goes. The only people who ever say Rubik's Cubes are people who are outside of the cubing community. So it's a 3x3 cube. And one of the things I think could really be done that with a 3x3 cube that has never been done, that I think is really important, is value mapping, right? So what do I mean by value mapping? Well, the cube has 43 quintillion unique scramble states, okay? And those are each, in my opinion, a unique, significant signature. And so you could begin to map those to all types of different things. The first thing I would do is, and I think this is a great idea, and I think the cubing community can come along and do this for slow cubing, okay? And so what would you do for slow cubing and value mapping? Well, you would assign cube signatures to human beings. So me, J. Scott Garibay, I would have on record a specific scramble state, right? So, and we would no longer call it a scramble state. We would call it a J. Scott Garibay state, right? So a 3x3 cube would have a J. Scott Garibay state. And that would no longer be a scramble. It would be a J. Scott Garibay state. So, and then you could also have a Jennifer Lopez state. You could have a Harry Baxter Mays state, like a million different, names and actually not a million. You could have 7 billion different cube states, all which align to a specific person, and the cubing community could manage this. They could say, hey, this is something special that we can do as a community. We can give people specific, and I think we should get away from calling it a scramble state. We should call them pattern. We should get a really cool name like pattern silhouette or pattern signature, right? Yeah, or a cube signature, right? Each person could have a cube signature, right? So you have a hand signature, but you could also have a cube signature, right? And so that, I think that's what I would go with. I would go with cube signature. In addition to this, you could give every constellation in the sky. You could get every star in the sky a cubing state, a cubing signature. Right? You could give events, historical events, cubing signatures. Now, there's all kinds of really useful and cool ways. And then once you had done this, right, there's all kinds of things you can do with those cubing signatures. For one, once you've done this with slow cubing, you can mix this with speed cubing, right? You could do some really special, really unique events that could mix with speed cubing. So for one, every speed cube, event is, okay, we get a scramble and then we try to bring it to solve state. But what if we had what if you were to bring people to a cubing tournament and say, okay, and start them at the beginning of the day and say, okay, go. First person to go from Harriet Tubman to the Little Dipper to the Titanic wins. And then they just go, right? And they're going from one cubing signature to another cubing signature to another cubing signature. That's really fun. That's innovative. That's different. And it also points to all these wonderful, cool things in our world. And it's something special that can be done with cubes. Really unique, really special. I think that's a really, really interesting aspect that you could do with cubes. This is something you could do with slow cubing, value mapping. I think it's incredibly important and really unique. It's really something fun and unique and valuable that you could do with cubing. And the ramifications of it could be quite large, right? Because names are important, right? And cubing signatures, I think, could be absolutely massive, It's been one of those things where like people like to name stars after people. This could be very, something very personal, something very fun. I think cubes are really awesome, but I think they're also massively under-tapped. They're being massively used under their full potential, and that's okay. They're only 40 years old. Cubing is really not that old. It's a very new hobby, and I think that's great. And I'm really excited about the idea of expanding cubing into slow cubing. I love this idea, and I also think expanding into slow cubing may allow the cubing community to grow and to include people that are not so traditionally connected to that are right now not traditionally connected to the community, to the cubing community. People who are, because right now, cubing is a little adrenaline push. It's really an adrenaline rush hobby, right? There's actually a super adrenaline rush when you go to one of these tournaments. You sit down and you have to solve really, really fast, and you get a serious adrenaline rush. It's like a race. It's like being in a race car race. It's really pretty wild. It's a lot of fun. I really like it, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had on the slow cubing side. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the topic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.